My name's Julian Lewis. I'm Director of East. We design buildings and spaces. And I'm actually really excited to be one of the Mayor's design advocates because I naively and optimistically think that he's ambitious and now's the time to be ambitious. And so what I want to propose here in 5 minutes is something quite seriously big and something that takes the public realm seriously. The image here is not of London, it's of Gothenburg, and it's an introductory picture of something that we were asked to do in Gothenburg to look at a 15-year program, what can happen to the city when it floods. And we made this proposal that had to do with a floodable city. You can make the public realm go up into the buildings, you can use the water, you can accommodate city life flexibly and positively. But I don't want to talk about Gothenburg. I want to get you to imagine that this is London. I tried to draw a picture of London, and I tried to imagine its immense vitality and history in a sketch that I could make in a few seconds. And I will have failed, I accept that, but London has the credentials for a public city that other countries would envy, and I don't think we take it seriously enough. And so this sketch, which is looking at London as it exists, says that the railways and the fields and the nature that Joe talked about and the wild river that Richard Wentworth has talked about and the housing and all of these spaces are so impossibly rich and full of history and layered that we must remember that the public realm is where the city lives. We are in a situation where the city is changing radically. Big development is coming, and I think we need to get real about the ambition of the imagination, the potential to steer big mixed-use development that's coming with money into this rich historic city that is always changing. What's going on at the moment is that you have tons of stuff going on and you have big developments and you've got a little skirt of public realm going around the bottom of the building. It's within the red line of the planning application. Shall we put some money into the public realm? So sorry about this tall building blocking your view. We'll really try to make amends and we'll really try and make it good, but it's a bit complicated to go beyond the red line. So that's not good enough, is it? It's really not enough to say that the public realm happens like ripples from individual droplets. We need to understand it as a kind of a rain, as a river, as a collective condition. We need to be open to the diversity of the public realm that can come out of that. So the public realm I'm suggesting is that it is a shared, rich, unbelievably rich territory, much more rich than we can almost describe in one go. And we need to let that be, and not all of it wants to be programmed. Some of it can be empty, some of it's wild, some of it's highly programmed, and much of it, this diagram suggests, goes into the buildings. And I've been on design reviews where the developer is desperate for some idea about how to get planning permission. And if you were the borough or the council helping them to get their planning permission, you could come up with some pretty interesting ideas. Many of them might be public, they might be managed public, but they could be very public. They might be about rooftop uses, they might be about treetops, they might be about access and connections, and many of the things that everyone's been already talking about, actually. So there's a kind of unbelievable potential for the public realm to be properly understood and portrayed as the leading condition for the city, not something that comes after some developer's got some money and does a planning application, not the bits between buildings, not this slightly apologetic, thank you so much for our public space, oh my God, he did a fountain, thank you, brilliant. It's not good enough. It's absolutely not good enough. London needs a foreground project. London is a public city. It's completely the public city. This is a weird sketch kind of portraying itself as a London picture. But what I think it could be, and it's not a master plan, but I think it could be a strategy that says the public realm comes first. Here we are. This is public. London is public. You coming forward with your development, with your housing, with your new change, must understand that you are going to join in and benefit from and enrich and articulate an already amazing city. That's the way round of saying it. And in fact, the architecture will get better that way as well, because in the many meetings I have about new developments, it's interesting how people have a certain conversation about the architecture, and when they get to the public realm, it's a much more interesting and difficult conversation to have. So you're going from talking about the concrete and the tectonics and the articulation of the building and the kind of trabeation of the building, and then the public realm gets really furious. You know, what the hell are we doing here? You know, why the fuck can't we have people walking through here? It's exciting. And I think that a foreground project means that if the mayor in the charter says that the public realm comes first, then people will think differently. It's actually starting to happen. I just think it could be pushed harder. You could have a bit more of a name. I mean, this project is us working in Scrubs Lane. And what's nice about this project is that we could make a public realm strategy that had to do with connecting the cemetery to the new station. The east-west connections take prominence. The tall buildings only happen where you have public realm. That was kind of the rule. This is about saying, by the way, that the public realm is not just a neutral thing. It's not a kind of quantity of stuff. It's actually what people do. I think the public realm comes alive when people see each other do things. So this sketch was about working out who's who, who's where in Scrubs Lane, and getting a matchmaking situation where a developer could speak to someone who's interested in what was coming forward, and there could be some non-residential uses with different ceiling heights, industrial, productive, workspace, importantly, lower rent, otherwise it won't work, market values above, lower values below. The OPDC are pushing this as a strategy, and it begins to make some kind of London sense, that heterogeneous, mixed, uneven, unlike simultaneity is what London is. It's complex, it's messy, and it's brilliant. You get places like this. This is not possible to design. You can't design a canal, but you can work with a canal. You can put a pizza place next to it in the sun. You can improve the bridge. You can do the development so it actually corresponds to the boat community, and you start to get a kind of, it's like cooking, you know, if you made a recipe for the public realm, you might come up with this. The public realm is what people do. If you see people doing things, you enjoy them being there more than if you just see people and you don't know who they are. So I think the public realm is about social life as well as space, and you know, I'm optimistic. I think it can be done. Thank you.